Hello everyone. Can you guys hear me? I'm just getting everything set up. I have to set up my microphone a little bit and the paper. But I'll be ready shortly. So how's everybody doing today? Anything new happening in life? Okay, I've got that set up. Now I'm just gonna get my paper ready. Gonna use some of this tape around the border of it. Don't want that big of a border on it. Make the border smaller. Now the reason I'm using this tape is because I'm using watercolor and I don't want the water to seep off the edges and go underneath the paper. I got the sniffles today. There we go. Gotta have it all lined up. One moment, I just gotta move my microphone over just a little bit, so if you hear any bump sounds, that's what it is. There we go, that's better. Now I just gotta turn my microphone. There we go. Can you guys hear me? that good? Okay. Now, gotta get myself some brushes. I've already got my water set up and everything else. Now, I'll go ahead and get started and see what I can make today. I'm thinking another space theme. That's what I like doing. I gotta practice more to do the other type of paintings, but let's go ahead and get started now. Pick out a brush. I'm wondering what color I should go with today. For my space theme. I think I'm gonna go with like a black and a blue background for this one. So, what if I should use this or the ultramarine? Need my black paint, and then I'm gonna get me some let's see, for blue, I think I'm gonna use this blue for this because I've already got the black. I can make it darker like the phthalo blue, and that's what I'm gonna start out with for my background. Now I've got my big plate here. Put all my paints in. I just leave some of the paints left in it after I'm done watercoloring because I can just reuse them again if I need to. Let's set that to the side. Let's see. Now, I've been thinking about getting like some Bluetooth headphones because this cord in this is in my way while I'm trying to do stuff. Okay, I've got that. Now, I haven't done a watercolor painting in about 6 months, so it might be a little bit rusty. We'll see. Now I just got to figure out what brush I want to use. I think I'm gonna go with, where is it? Because I just want to get down the background first. I'll use the big brush and smaller brush for detail, and then use that one for some blending. Now let's see here. I just remember something. I have to get my white acrylic paint I used to make the stars and everything. I'll be back in just a second. Everyone still there? You still with me? Okay, now I've got my oh, bump the camera. I got my white paint now. This is what I use for actually just darn it. I actually just remembered that container was kind of like watered down paint. It's I kind of use that acrylic paint like watercolor, but this is my gigantic white paint container. It's all DIY, do-it-yourself made. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use some of my paint now and get this all ready. Just gonna be adding some black paint here in a second for the background. I'm just using gray right now, kind of give myself an idea of the shape I want to make everything. Yeah, I was thinking about doing something different today. I had a friend that told me, he's like, why don't you try something different, because all your stuff's been the same. So, like, sure, I can do that. I haven't done watercolor in a while. Not sure what I'm gonna do, really. Don't have too much of a plan for it. Not too stressed about it. That is one thing, is if you're trying to do something, you know, painting, drawing, any of that, you worry too much, then you won't really be focused on what you're making, and then it'll really mess you up. The paper I'm using is Canson mixed media paper. In case any of you are wondering. Kind of just painting in some cloud looking area. This is pretty relaxing. I haven't done one of these in a while. It's another thing I do like about doing the live video is I don't have to be too stressed about having everything perfectly lined up. Like whenever I'm doing the time lapses and everything, I have to have everything perfect. I can't bump the camera because then I have to edit that out. This is just, you know, go at it and have fun. What I'm doing now, I'm kind of just layering in the black areas. Then once I get this done, then I'll go ahead and add some color. I tend to enjoy starting these with black and white, and then later on going into add all the color once I've got kind of a general idea of where I'm wanting to go with it. Now I think I'm gonna put a couple planets in here, and then I'll paint over that, and probably add stars and some other things. But if you have any suggestions of what you think I should add to it, go ahead and let me know. Now what I'm doing with this technique I'm doing is once something's already like half dry, I go over it with more paint so that I can give that effect of like the clouds of something shooting through it or movement. As you can see, I just did that there because the paint's not quite dry, but it's a little bit dry, so I just run my brush over it. I think it's going pretty good. Add a little bit right there. I just need to make it a little bit darker. There we go. Now I've got the main background done. Kind of give myself a general idea of how I want it. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in some color, some planets or anything else that I think of. One more. I just have to turn my mic because part of the microphone has this holder on it. It's like sticking out right where my like glasses are, and it keeps hitting me in the face. 1 second. There we go. Problem fixed. So I am going to be using some of the blue. Now I just got to figure out where I want to put everything. What do you guys think? Let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put in a planet. I got to think of what color I want to make it. I think I'm going to go ahead, go with a red color. Brilliant red. That's the color I'm picking. Yes, I know these are cheaper watercolors, but since I don't really do watercolor all that often, I don't need like a $300 set because I don't really see the point of doing that for myself at the moment. Because after all, like most of these that I've done, it feels like practice to me rather than like final masterpieces or whatever, so that's why I don't really worry about the expensive paints. You're probably thinking, why didn't he put the planets down first? Well, I can always go over this and add more clouds and everything over it, because that was just the first layer of the painting. And I've heard some people say, oh, don't use paint straight from the tube. Well, if I'm just using getting this shape in, it doesn't really matter, because if I got the red, I can always go over it with another color to change the color, and it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, if you're wanting to make a masterpiece to where you're trying to sell it, then sure, it would matter some maybe, but it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, later today I've got to do some cleaning. I've got to clean all of my dishes. I have a lot of dishes to do. I tend to let them build up after I've waited so long, because I'm so busy working on artwork, and I'm like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and I never get to doing them. I think it's time. I've waited long enough. I'm liking the look of that. What if I just left it that way, black and white and red? Thinking about where I should add another one. I want to add a huge one somewhere in an area. Let me think here. I think I'm going to add it right here. And the reason I'm just moving the brush around randomly rather than just making one solid color, so it gives it a little bit of a texture look to it, as if there's something on the surface. Looks good so far. I'm going to add some more color. Things will pick up once now that I've got the background down and everything. That's one thing I like about with watercolor, is that you can kind of make things come behind something, like blend through it, or like the transparency. Because with oil paint and acrylic, it's very different. Because with oil, you can do that, but it's just a long process. And with acrylic, there's not really as much of that transparency. Kind of like a glow look to it. I got the sniffles still. As you can see there, see how I can just go back over the planets if I want to with that. But I'm not going to yet because I'm going to add a little bit of more detail to them. Hello, how are you? I'm just sitting here painting away. It's all coming together, slowly but surely. you can see what I'm doing there. I'm doing more of that while it's still wet. I add a little bit of paint. I'll add it here. Then I run it across with that black. And it'll drag that across over the sky. I can bring it over other objects. So I had that light underneath it because it's like the clouds from what's behind it is shining the light through it. Just the way I paint. Still leaving those planets without anything over them because still going to go over them later. I'm adding the black here in these areas to really make a lot of contrast between the planets I put in and the other things in the area. It'll really help them stick out a lot more. See? Because around the planets you got these light areas, and inside where the planet is that I made, the color is also lighter. It's no, it's like a light pink or kind of like a red, and that beside the black paint is gonna really stick out. And I can always go over that black paint later, add stars or whatever it is that I want to do. Another thing I like about watercolor is it's not really going to hurt the brush much if you leave the paint on there. So I can just set it to the side and continue painting and pick this up whenever I want. I'm thinking this area later on is going to need lightened a little bit. Needs a little bit more color too. Because I have a lot going on over in this area, but there's not much over here. I want a little bit of a balance in my painting. Okay, take that black back some, add a little bit of blue. There we go, it's better. gonna need some more blue. I'm not sure how green would look in this. I don't think it would. Because I'm liking the colors that I have right now, I don't think green would be a good color for this. Now what I could do is add yellow and a little bit of orange, because when I add the yellow anyways with the blue is going to make some green, because that'd be better than if I just added green to it, because then all I'm going to get is a dark green. So I'm going to use this medium yellow, because if I use the lighter yellow color, it's going to be like a grass green. It's not going to be, it's just going to look too plain. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and add some detail to the planets, and then I'm going to go ahead and overlay, the other colors and bring it to life a little bit more. Let's see. What I'm using here is just a burnt sienna. And what I'm doing is I'm making it darker in one area because the light's coming like from that direction. So what I'll do once I have this burnt sienna on here and I've added some detail, I'll go in with some black and a little bit of dark red, and I'll darken the area up. Then I'll add the highlight on the side of the planet where the light's coming in. I was thinking about how I need to get a different drawing table set up, because I want to get dual monitor for when I'm doing video editing. It'll make things a lot easier rather than just using one monitor. But I have to get some different tables, because what I have right now, there's this huge section in the corner of my apartment where it's not even being used. And I was thinking about getting one of those those business tables, or they're like these big lawn tables that people would take to parties or anything. I'm thinking getting two of those, putting one in the corner, and then beside it having it at the other corner, kind of like an L shape, so that I can put my computer in the corner with my two monitors in front of it, and I'll have more room to draw and everything, and can make more videos and keep having fun. I'm going to go in with some black, mix it with a little bit of red. Give myself that dark edge on on the planet. There we go. It's pretty. That's a pretty dark color. That'll work. And it's not pure black, but it's got that hint of red in it, which is the one I'm wanting for that edge. As I'm doing this, I'm not completely covering up that burnt sienna I had on the edge there. Just going about halfway, kind of mixing it into it, and then I'm going to add the black on the edge of that once this is done. I'm going to go ahead and add the white highlight. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the black to this side. The reason I'm going to start with a white highlight first is because this side's still wet. So if I just go throwing in paint in there, it's not really going to do anything. It's just going to make it more muddy. And this white paint that I'm using is an acrylic paint. So I'm going to make sure I get this off my brush before I go start adding the black in.
And what I'm going to do is, now that it's kind of halfway dry a little bit there, I'm going to take the that acrylic paint, I'm going to drag it across, kind of blend it over the red, so there's not such a hard edge there. See? Pretty easy. I think what kind of gave me the idea to paint this as well was because of the SpaceX going to the whole idea of them going to Mars, and they launched that rocket yesterday. So I was like, that's space. I like painting space themes and things, so I think I'll do watercolor painting.
I still think this plant needs more of a highlight on it though. Just a little bit more. Now I'm not no painting master, I'm just self-taught with all this, but drawing's always been my thing. Painting's just a kind of something I do on the side for fun. But I'd taken it more serious within the past year to improve at it. Okay, now I've got that done. I'm going to go back in and add really dark edges on the planets with the black.
Just doing this to give it some what looks like a surface texture to it. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some yellow. The best part's at the end when I'm almost done, when I really just pull everything together into the painting. Now the yellows, I'm going to be adding a lot of them where the purple is, because I don't want to add too much where the blue is, because when that mixes with the blue, it's going to make a green. And I'm just adding this on mostly dry. Because if I add it wet, it's going to pick up the paint that's underneath it, and then this is going to make a mess of everything. I'm using very, very little, not much of it, because I don't want to cover too much of the paint underneath it. I'm trying to make sure I don't go too much into the blue areas. And the brush I'm using is kind of like a blending brush. I don't want to use this type of brush because it's going to make lines. I want to kind of get in there, kind of scribble everything around. Speaking of scribble, which rhymes with Scrabble, which rhymes with scramble. After this, I'm going to make me some eggs for breakfast. I already had a bowl of cereal, but I'm getting hungry again. There's a little bit of blue there, kind of avoid that, go into this area where there's more purple. And again, this is just dry yellow paint. Mostly dry, not completely dry. I wouldn't go on if it was completely dry. Obviously. See how it's got a little bit of a green look there? Now the reason I did that is because as I was painting, it was a little bit blue in certain areas. So what I gotta do is take my brush, put it in some water. It's cleaned out. Then I can go ahead and go over and pick up some more yellow paint. I'm gonna make sure my brush is completely dry before I do this, because I already dipped it in some water. If I go putting in that yellow paint again with it wet, it's just gonna pick up the blue paint under it and make green. And we'll get to the end when I get more done. That's when I'll be adding in more stuff over the planets, kind of overlapping it and everything, give it more of a 3D look to it. So it's like a tiny hint of green. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Clean off my brush. Wipe my brush onto this towel I have over here. And then once I'm done cleaning the brush on the towel, I just take it and I go like this. Make sure all the water comes out. And that yellow down here by the black makes some more color and more contrast, that lighter color there. Now I'm thinking about adding a little bit of orange to this. Make it more colorful. And the orange, if I don't want to blend it too much in with the purple, because it's going to make kind of like a brownish color. I'm not wanting that color. Add that yellow there because of that black, and there's just that hint of white underneath is really going to stand out. Because as you can see here, I've got that black, because that light red and that white really stands out, and I've got that yellow against the black and the white, and it really stands out. It really makes you look at this area. And then this here is really dark, so it's kind of it's really good balance. I like that. If you're just now joining, I'm working on a space-themed painting. I need some more yellow somewhere. I feel I need a little bit more yellow in a very small area. I think it's going to be here. I think that'll be good for the yellow for now. Yeah, that's all I needed. And right about... yeah, that's good. It's pretty good. Now just a hint of yellow there. That's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to add a little bit of orange. Yeah, I guess a lot of us have very opposite sleep schedules. And thank you. I haven't done any watercolor painting in about 6 months. But I feel that I'm coming along pretty well with this for not practicing for a while. And I hope you're doing great today. And thank you for being my subscriber and stopping by to watch. At the moment I'm just getting ready to add some orange. Well, aren't you gonna add more paint? And I'm thinking this orange is gonna look really good against the blues in it. These paints, I tell you what, I just can't leave them alone. Sometimes I do so much burning, I get burnt out. And then some days I just get, well, where'd it go? I feel very blue about things, and then I'm like, aren't you gonna do more drawing? And then I think to myself, well, if I keep painting and practicing, I can get very brilliant at it. And everything's gonna turn out pretty good. Everything will be all white. So yeah, you gotta just keep at it, and you know, you'll get there. Because sometimes you just gotta try your hardest, and even if it saps all the energy out of you, just gotta keep going, and everything will be good. Sometimes, you know, you practice really hard, you don't feel like you're improving, and it can be a real pain, but everything will be okay. Yeah, that's what I really like using when I do the sunset and sunrise paintings. I really like using that orange against the blue and the yellow against that purple. And one reason is because that yellow, blue, and purple are really kind of complementary. They're really good complementary colors. And then that orange looks really good against the purple and blue as well. But you want to make sure you don't put too much, you know, make sure the yellow doesn't go into the blue too much, so you don't make green end up getting the wrong color you don't want. So that is the only drawback with it, but it's a really good, basic color combination you can use. You can just use it straight out of the tube, put it on there, and then it blends together, and you can make multiple colors. With this one, I didn't paint fast. I just took my time, because I wanted to add more detail rather than just throwing it together, because I had more of a specific theme in mind as I was doing it. Yeah, it's been a while since I've painted, but looks like I'm brushing up on my skills. So it's been a while since I've done painting, and looks like I've sure got a lot on my plate today. Does the sound quality sound good on your side? Because I had to go into the sound settings and select echo cancellation, because there's my computer. I've got this fan, the sound from the fan, my microphone picks it up, and all you hear is like shh if I don't have that selected. But I'm gonna go ahead and add some orange. I think I forgot about that, but subconsciously I did, because in a lot of areas I've got white showing through with the the white between the blue and the purple, and I don't know, like a lot of times I'll paint something and I don't know how or why I did it, or same with my drawing. People ask me, how did you do that? Why did you do that? And many times I'm not even sure. It's just like after you've done it so many times, it's just subconscious. It's like riding a bike. Sometimes you just don't know. You just do it and it ends up working. Okay, that's good. It's working then. I'll change the sound setting back to how it was, and I want you to tell me if you can hear the fan then. I just changed it back to the normal settings. You probably hear the fan a little bit in the background maybe. Now I'm going to turn it back to how I had it. Okay, painting time.
Guys, I want to paint me some. Just gonna paint myself a nice picture here, guys. Get myself some orange and dab that into the plate right there. Yeah, guys. Guess who? Got some popsicles?
I think I did that voice too good. You're my greatest fan. It's a going good. Okay, now time for some orange. Here we go. Are you scared? It's a big moment that I add the orange in. All right.
Hi, guys.
Oh, my voice cracked up there.
No, 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 no.
Just dry brushing this in there. Now you can hear me, and now you couldn't hear me. Thank you. I hope you have a good night and sleep well. I'll be here as always. Mostly drawing, but I'll be painting. I should be done with this painting within the next 30 minutes. And if you'd like to see the rest of this, it will be posted on my YouTube channel. And you can watch the rest of it if you would like. But until then, I hope to talk to you again. And I hope you're doing well and have a good night. You're welcome. I'm really liking that orange against that blue. Looking pretty cool. That area there, I'm really liking that really dark blue against that. As you can see now, I'm going over adding some of these clouds to it. And welcome back, whomever is watching. Now I'm going to go ahead and, now that the paint's pretty dry, I'm going to kind of dab it on there so it looks like clouds. Get more of a texture and everything. But before I do, I think I'm going to add a little bit of black to some areas and then add that white into it. This is just dry paint. And the really good part is at the end, once I add in all the main details. Add a tiny bit of water. And the reason I'm adding more black is because I'm going to add some more white, make it stand out. And the acrylic paint, this is white acrylic paint. I put it on the plate and I kind of spread the paint out so it kind of dries halfway. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to dab it on there to make kind of outlines and everything around clouds and stuff. And what I'm going to do is I go to the darkest areas and I'll add those white highlights then. I'm going to go ahead and switch to a different brush now. This smaller brush. Just dragging the brush across real fast to give it a different look and texture. And now, I think that's looking pretty good now. Almost done. And I just need to add a little bit of highlight in some areas with the white. And that's about it. And then the final part, which is adding the stars. I'll be back in just a second. I have to get something for this. I had to get a piece of paper so I could cover up areas that I've already painted, as far as the like the planets and everything for when I add the stars. So let's see here. I think I could just actually use I don't think that'll work. We'll do this. Cover that. And then cover that one. Now I can add all of my little stars, and I'll show you how I do that here in a second. Now what I do is I just get a brush like this. I get some paint. Added it to my brush. Add a little bit of water. And I take my brush and make my stars. I hear a lot of tapping sounds. Need a little bit more water. I have more stars in some areas than others. That was a pretty big star there. And that there, no big deal. Like I do this. Wipe some of it away. And we're fine. This is the fastest way, I think, to do stars. I've seen someone do it with like a toothbrush or something, but it kind of just goes everywhere. You don't have as much control. Now I've mostly got the area covered. Just gonna add a couple more just around a hat, just around that planet. There we go, that's better. Gonna go ahead and move over to the other side. I just have to clean something off here. I'm not sure if that's paint or what that is. It doesn't look like paint though. I'll be with you in just a moment. I'm just going to go ahead and finish up adding the stars to the rest of it, and then we'll be done. We're good now. I didn't want that big of a star there. Just add a couple more stars and then I'll be done. Well, I am finished. Thank you all for watching and everybody for being a subscriber. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these. It was fun. Turned out better than I thought it would. And I'm gonna go ahead and make me some breakfast. If you have any questions or want to see more of my artwork, or you're interested in buying any products I have on Society 6, I have links in the description below. But until then, hope to see you all again. And thank you for watching. Have a good day.